What happens when a beloved god-king is betrayed at his own banquet, and the crime ripples through both the land of the living and the realm of the dead? Our story begins in an Egypt blessed with abundance. Osiris, the eldest child of the earth god Geb and the sky goddess Nut, ruled as a wise and benevolent king. He taught his subjects how to plant grain, harness the Nile, and live in balance with the gods. By his side was his sister wife Isis, a queen celebrated for her magic, healing, and devotion. Together they maintained Ma'at, the cosmic order that kept chaos at bay. But in the shadows, their brother Set simmered with resentment. Inheriting the harsh desert while Osiris governed the fertile Nile, Set felt cheated. As the people's admiration for Osiris grew, so did Set's envy. Ancient texts speak of the king's kindness, but his brother saw the throne as rightfully his. Thus, beneath the harmony of Osiris's reign, a sinister plot began to form. Set's anger evolved into cold calculation. He began gathering accomplices, according to later tellings 72 conspirators, including a crafty Ethiopian queen. In secret, they designed a chest of exquisite craftsmanship, carved from rare woods and lined with gold and precious stones. Its proportions matched Osiris's body perfectly. No one else could comfortably fit inside. When the box was complete, Set arranged a harvest festival in his brother's honor. The banquet hall glittered with torches and bronze. Music and laughter filled the air as nobles feasted. Set displayed the chest and announced a contest. Whomever fit into it would be given the beautiful box as a gift. One by one, the revelers laid down inside, but each was either too tall or too short. When Osiris, encouraged by good wine and amused by the game, finally reclined in the chest, it closed around him with uncanny precision. At Set's signal, the conspirators slammed the lid, sealed it with molten lead and nails, and quickly carried the coffin away. Before the stunned guests could react, the chest was hurled into the dark waters of the Nile. Osiris, trapped within, drowned. Set declared the throne his own, spreading a tale that his brother had simply vanished. It was a perfect crime. No witnesses willing to speak, no body to bury, only whispers of betrayal. Isis's grief soon turned into determined action. Refusing to accept that her husband's story had ended, she cut off her hair in mourning, donned common clothing, and embarked on a quest that took her across the known world. Guided by rumors and the prayers of loyal worshippers, she traced the coffin's path northward along the Mediterranean. Eventually, it reached the Phoenician coast at Byblos, where the sea cast it ashore. A young tamarisk sprout grew around the driftwood chest, and the tree's trunk encased it completely. When the local king ordered a new palace, carpenters cut down the tamarisk and fashioned its fragrant trunk into a monumental pillar for the royal hall. Isis arrived at the court, disguised as a humble nurse, and quickly gained the trust of the queen, eventually nursing the royal infant. During the nights, she lamented near the pillar, her wails echoed by the sea. At last, she revealed her true identity and begged for the pillar containing the coffin. Moved by her plea, the king agreed. Isis broke open the wood, retrieved Osiris's body, and returned to Egypt under cover of darkness, hiding her treasure in the marshes of the Nile Delta. Set's spies soon learned that Isis had recovered the coffin. Enraged that his carefully orchestrated crime might be undone, Set stole the corpse while Isis slept. In a frenzy, he hacked it into 14 pieces and scattered them across the length and breadth of Egypt. One part in Thebes, another in Memphis, others in the Delta and desert. In doing so, he hoped not only to prevent any resurrection, but also to erase Osiris's memory entirely. When Isis awoke to find the empty coffin, her despair was complete. Yet she refused to relent. Together with her sister Nephthys and the jackal-headed god Anubis, she traveled along the Nile, visiting each region, collecting the dismembered remains. Every time she found a fragment, she built a shrine, promising that those who cared for her husband's relics would be blessed with fertile harvests. The last and most troubling piece, the phallus, was missing. According to legend, it had been swallowed by a Nile fish. That fish would thereafter be regarded as sacred, forbidden to eat. To restore her husband's completeness, Isis fashioned a replacement from gold and wax. With all the pieces gathered, Isis turned to the art of restoration. Anubis, who presided over embalming, cleansed each fragment with sacred oils and wrapped them tightly in linen strips. The ibis-headed god Thoth recited spells to preserve the flesh, and Nephthys joined Isis in lamentations that were said to teach mortals the rites of mourning. Layer by layer, the body was swathed, bound, and perfumed. The broken god's form was made whole again, but restoring life required more than physical repairs. Standing over the wrapped figure, Isis used her unparalleled magic, reciting ancient words and fanning her wings. For a brief moment, Osiris's chest rose and fell. His eyes fluttered open. In that fleeting span, he and Isis conceived a son, Horus. The miracle also established the prototype for mummification. Future pharaohs would be embalmed in imitation of Osiris to ensure their rebirth in the next world. Yet Osiris's return to mortal life could not last. His body, now a mummy, could not dwell among the living. He descended into the Duat, the shadowy realm beneath the western horizon, and took up a new role as Lord and Judge of the dead. Isis knew that justice for Osiris would ultimately come through their son, and she had to protect him from Set's wrath. She retreated to the marshes of Chemis, living in papyrus thickets where crocodiles prowled and reeds hid her from view. She gave birth to Horus in secrecy and fed him on divine milk while teaching him spells and the names of the gods. When poison or beasts threatened, she called on Thoth for healing. Some stories tell of 7 scorpions who guarded the young god. Others describe peasants providing shelter and water, risking Set's punishment. As Horus grew into a falcon-headed youth, he inherited his father's courage and his mother's cunning. He knew that his destiny was to challenge the uncle who had usurped the throne and restore balance to Egypt. Horus did not march straight to Set's palace and strike him down. Egyptian myth recounts a prolonged and multifaceted conflict that lasted 80 years. It played out in the desert, in courts of gods, and in the hearts of humans who took sides. At times, the contest looked like a legal dispute. Horus presented his case before the Ennead, the council of 9 major gods, and argued that as Osiris's son, he was rightful heir. Set countered that as the older surviving brother, he was entitled to rule. When words failed, the contest moved to physical and magical duels. Both gods transformed into hippopotamuses and wrestled beneath the Nile's surface. They raced boats of stone. Set carved his vessel from real stone, which promptly sank, while Horus cunningly fashioned his from wood painted to appear like stone and won the race. In another trial, Set challenged Horus to a night on the river. As they slept, Set tore out Horus's eye, symbolizing the waxing and waning moon. In retaliation, Horus tore off Set's testicles, symbolizing castration of chaos. Each injury became part of later symbols. The eye of Horus grew into a protective amulet. Set's impotence associated him with the barren desert. The gods grew weary of the endless trials. Some supported Horus, including the goddess Hathor, who brought beer to cheer the frustrated tribunal. Others favored Set's strength. Even the sun god Ra hesitated, fearing change. After decades of deadlock, the gods sought a resolution. Isis, ever cunning, tricked Set into admitting before the council that someone who kills another's father and takes his cattle should forfeit his own possessions. When she revealed that his statement applied to himself, the gods laughed and recognized the truth. Ra finally agreed that Horus should ascend the throne. In some accounts, the goddess Neith mediated the verdict. Horus would rule Egypt, while Set would be given the desert and the thunderous storms he embodied. Horus was crowned king, uniting Upper and Lower Egypt, and took the throne name after his father. As for Osiris, he remained in the underworld, presiding as a just judge over the souls of the deceased. The cycle of death and rebirth, symbolized by his story, reassured Egyptians that their own bodies, when properly embalmed, could live again beyond the grave. The verdict also reaffirmed the principle that the murder of kin is the darkest crime and must be avenged to restore cosmic balance. The murder and resurrection of Osiris reverberated throughout Egyptian culture. At Abydos, a public passion play reenacted the drama each year. Citizens wept as actors played Isis searching for Osiris, rejoiced at his reassembly, and cheered as Horus defeated Set. People believed that each king, upon death, became Osiris, and each new king was a living Horus. Mummification practices, tomb building, and funerary texts, such as the Book of the Dead, all drew inspiration from Isis's quest and Anubis's rituals. The Nile's annual flood was seen as Osiris's lifeblood reviving the land, and the grain that sprouted from the soil was his body regenerating. Even though Osiris never returned to earthly kingship, his role as judge provided Egyptians with moral assurance. Those who lived ethically would join him in the field of reeds, while wrongdoers like Set would face punishment.